Anything would come up.
Nayeli didn't get to grow up with her baby sister Jaqueline. She only saw her transform into a teenager through age progression photos and missing posters.
I would always try to look for her on Facebook and see if anybody would look like me.
Nayeli was just 2 years old the day her sister went missing. Jaqueline remains a missing piece in the family and a painful part of their past. Her case is packed up in boxes at the Avoldale Police Department. The binders, full of handwritten reports, take us back to a swap meet in Avoldale in 2001. Nayeli's mom took her into a porta potty and left Jaqueline just outside in a car seat. Moments later, the baby was gone. Officer Ray Emmett with Avondale PD says there was a massive search, but no real witnesses. Someone at the outdoor market noticed a woman hanging around the area who made a remark about the child. It was enough for police to make this composite sketch. They never found the woman. What happened to baby Jaqueline is still a mystery.
Our thought is, or our hope is, that she's still out there today, that maybe somebody that took her is raising her right now and she doesn't even know.
Hope is also a feeling Nayeli has clung to over the years. This is the first time she has spoken publicly about her sister. She often hears stories about missing girls reunited with loved ones, like the 3 women held captive in Ohio.
That could be my sister coming back home, even though she's been missing a lot of years. That could be her coming back home to us and seeing that whole reunion of them being happy to have their family back. I want that happiness to come to our family.
Investigators want people to know Jaqueline has a heart-shaped birthmark on her arm. It's unclear what that may look like today, but it's one of her defining features that was first reported when she went missing.
All right, folks, if you have any information, call the Avondale Police Department. The number is 623-333-7001. We have some special guests joining us tonight to talk about the case. The Neighborhood Resource Officer and Public Information Officer for the Avondale Police Department, Jarrett Redfern, is with us. Also joining us, investigative reporter, anchor, and podcaster for our affiliate KGUN 9, Chandrea Thomas is with us. Great to have you both here. Jarrett, I'll start with you. At this point, where are we in this? How would you describe this case? Is this a cold case?
This is a cold case in a sense because, like you stated, the case is about 20 years old now. But we do still get leads from time to time, and I would like to thank, the media, I think, has a big part in that because we have had a good partnership over the years with the media. This isn't the first time that we've appealed to the public for help, and we do get leads. Our case detectives follow up on all of those leads, and so far, unfortunately, it hasn't led us back to Jaqueline. But.
Yeah, I think hope is something we can have in a case like this. Chandrea, because we've seen in the past there are other cases where babies have been stolen, sometimes from a hospital, sometimes it's a newborn.
Yes, and actually, even through my work as a reporter and as a podcaster, I've covered a lot of missing persons cases. And there was one case of this woman. Her name, she was going by the name of Monique Smith, and she was taken when she was an infant, and she didn't realize that the woman who was raising her wasn't her mother until she was an adult because she had to get a job, and she discovered that her documents were fake. And so at that point, she realized that she had to find her real family. And really, after 20 years of searching for her family, she actually found them in 2019. So it is a possibility as far as people being able to find their loved ones, especially when they're infants. I know I've heard investigators say that when they are infants, they do have a better chance of survival as far as, being able to live and things like that. So it is possible to find your loved ones because I've seen it happen before, and the reunions are incredible.
Jarrett, some of the things that we have, there was a sketch. There's this a birthmark that the child had.
Technology has advanced, and as our skills and abilities as investigators have improved over the last 20 years with experience. We utilize all of that. If a new technology comes out, whether it's DNA-based or, geolocation-based or anything like that, our case detectives will analyze that new technology and that new investigative tool and determine, okay, is that going to work in this case with Jaqueline? And if so, then let's go ahead and add that to this case, to this investigation.
Chandrea, can you give the folks at home a better idea of this swap meet, where it was and who was there?
Avondale is kind of like a suburb of Phoenix. And so there are typically a lot of people who kind of, rummage around, and sometimes you do have regulars who show up at the swap meet, which makes it interesting to know whether or not this woman was a regular who showed up there, and if she had done this before at different times, or if she had been plotting and planning, on who she was going to target. But as far as the swap meet itself, it's usually really crowded, and it's hot, so people are usually searching for some place to get into the shade. At that time, there really probably was little to no surveillance video of what was going on at that particular time, but it's a very crowded and very close, closed in type of area.
But it seems like it's almost a crime of opportunity, because unless she was being followed to the swap meet, it was someone who just happened to see a mother who's there with two very young children.
I would agree with that analysis, going back to the original manhunt in the area when investigators and officers were making those interviews and trying to determine what happened. There was a theme, a pattern that came up that this unidentified woman seemed a little too comfortable around kids. Maybe was showing an extra interest in kids.
Yeah, we posted this on social media, and some folks posting comments, and I wanted to go through a few of them. Sandra tonight. The mom was negligent leaving her baby alone like that, so it's not like somebody was stalking. Hopefully it was a caring person that just saw a baby there alone and took the opportunity and raised that child. God bless. That mom was in a tough spot, Chandrea. Two very young children. One's got to go to the bathroom. There's only porta potties there.
So the one thing that I've come to understand is, and talking with a lot of people who have missing loved ones, is that they want two things. They want to make sure their loved one is remembered, that people care, and they will look at a poster and really report things if they see it. The other thing is the idea of ambiguous loss, because they don't know what happened to the baby, right? So they can't really grieve in one way or the other. So you have an open-ended phase of grieving, so to speak. So can you imagine going through that for 20 years or the rest of your life and not knowing what really happened to your child? And unfortunately, for a lot of families, that whole idea of ambiguous loss is something that they experience for the rest of their lives if they don't get answers. But we're just hoping that, I think, honestly, DNA is going to be the key with this case. I really do. Maybe Jaqueline will somehow want to find out about her ancestry and get that registry and send her DNA in, and there'll be a hit. That's what I really, really hope for with this case.
So she could be of the age where she's getting curious, and that may be where this answer ends up.
Yeah, absolutely. Our investigators have, also collaborated with the FBI over the past 20 years with the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children on this case. I would also highlight that, I don't have express knowledge of the DNA companies that will do these ancestry checks, but the only thing I would say is, if you are going through and doing your DNA testing, usually there's a checkbox that it'll ask you to check the box if you want your information shared with law enforcement.
There's a young woman, 20 years old, who's got a heart-shaped birthmark. She could see a report and then have that test done, and her sister's registered with different companies. Do we know that?
I believe she is registered, as her DNA is registered. The family member's DNA is registered, so there could be a potential hit with that. And the other thing about that, too, like you said, she's in the age where she's going to be on social media most likely. And so there is a chance that she will see this. And it's amazing how powerful social media is, especially when it comes to missing persons cases and armchair detectives who want to really try to find out what's going on. You have all these other people, aside from the police, trying to figure this whole story out, right?
How much of an investment, personal investment, and how much is there a level of we really want to get an answer? How big of a part of the job is that?
In a case like this, where it's very heart-wrenching, and it's been a long case, 20 years. These detectives, when they get assigned these cases, are typically shepherds of a case for many years. We've had leads out of Texas that they followed up on and run down, and nothing panned out. We've had leads in California that they followed up on.
We got another comment from Peggy tonight. I'm not going to blame the mom. She's a victim. Why do people find the need to look like they never made a decision that could have ended differently? I truly hope she's living a good life and eventually will be reunited with her birth family. I believe it's possible. And I think we all are hoping that it's possible, Chandrea, because we've seen it in the past. and perhaps we'll have that same sort of an ending to this case. But appreciate your time tonight. Chandrea Thomas, anchor, investigative reporter, podcaster over at KGUN 9 out in Tucson.